Hello. How is everybody doing? I see everybody in chat. Thank you almost 1,000 people for stopping by. My name is Jason Lake. I'm founder and CEO of Complexity Gaming. And as long as you allow me, we're going to spend some time together today. How's everything look? Looks good on Twitch. We're also on YouTube, also on Kick. I expect this to probably take between 60 and 90 minutes because I'm going to share a lot of different things with you guys today. And I realize a lot of people can't just sit for that long. Might be cool to watch on YouTube where you can pause it. We'll also make sure that we get up VODs. You love the blue. Thanks, Cheesy Grunt. Good on YouTube. Thanks, Debt Collector. Yeah, we're on Kick. Absolutely. And on X. Restreaming all over. But anyway, again, thank you very much for joining me today. I want to get right into it. Overall, this is going to be a very casual kind of sit down. I have a few pages of notes just to make sure that I don't miss anything. But today we're going to go over the state of the org for Complexity in terms of July 2024. Obviously, we've had a pretty epic and eventful year so far, and it's my commitment to you to kind of up our community interaction and up our transparency. And that is the point of this exercise today. It will be pretty long. And if you're not super into business and things like that, you might fall asleep. And for that, I apologize. But for those who are interested in esports and business and things, I think you're going to find this to be, very interesting. Basically, now that I'm back in control and we're privately owned, we want to change the paradigm and reset expectations around what esports fans know about the teams they follow. I want to be honest with you guys. I took a big chance on my family's future to buy back this organization that we all love so much. It was an extremely stressful time, and I couldn't have endured it without the ardent support of my coworkers and my family. And while I'm extremely proud of the things that we've accomplished and we've built together, there's much to be done. And just being honest, success is not assured. Fans and supporters are the lifeblood of any organization. By following us, interacting with us, watching the videos, buying our products, and supporting our teams, you help build a world-class organization and community. You are a member. You have a voice. We value your support, and we bust our asses daily, honestly, to make you proud. Therefore, we've decided that you deserve as much transparency as we can possibly offer. You deserve to be an educated member of the Complexity family. I humbly come before you today to invite you to continue along with us on this journey, to help us build on a 20-year legacy and continue to create a modern, cutting-edge esports brand you are proud to support. Complexity is more than just me, my coworkers, and the current players on the roster. It's about a vision and a dream that our entire global community contributes to and is invited to be a part of. Therefore, in the name of community, transparency, and honesty, and with a humble, sincere heart, I present to you all the State of the Org, July 2024. Together, today, you are my board of directors. So let's get started. We're going to go through some decks that are normally confidential. We're going to go through some financials that esports orgs normally do not want to share. I'm going to go into the good, the bad, and all aspects of the business. I'm constantly asked by people, how do esports orgs make money? And how does Complexity make money? And we're going to go into some of that. I'm going to walk you through how this business kind of functions, what the numbers look like, what the percentages of revenues look like, and what I believe to be one of the most transparent presentations an esports CEO has ever given. But mostly the focus is on transparency for our community. We want to show you what we're trying to build and ask you to come along on the journey. We want to show you the challenges we're facing. Maybe some of you out there can help us from time to time. We want your support, whether it's watching a video or joining us in the Discord or playing in our events or buying a t-shirt. And honestly, we need it. So the first thing I'm going to bring up is what most orgs, I should say every org, has. And that's called a GP, or general presentation. It's just a general deck where you take to companies or investors or whoever, like very high level, first conversation type of thing. So for many people, this is going to be like, wow, this is really basic. Like I already knew this, but let's start at the top and give a broad overview of the complexity business as it sits today in 2024. And let me get this brought up. You'll have to forgive me. I haven't streamed since 2020, and I'm a bit of a tech noob anyway, so I'll probably make some tech blunders, and y'all can laugh at me. But let's get over to this page. So this, again, is our general presentation. If we're speaking with a corporate client or a potential investor, they will see a derivative of this deck that's more specifically targeted towards whatever that conversation is going to be. We'll make them, specifically targeted towards how we can deliver value for a corporate partner or an event that we're trying to sell or whatever. And I'm also going to go over an event deck a little later in the presentation. But as you can see, well, I guess you can't because my camera is there. In the lower right, it says confidential. But today, like I said, we're going a little deeper, and we're going to pull the curtain back just a little bit. Again, this will be really simple for some of you, but for corporations or people that might not be really familiar with esports, this deck is kind of meant to say, who is complexity? It doesn't go in and say, hey, there's 1 trillion esports fans worldwide and 5 trillion people play video games. It's not that broad of deck. It's more broad and concerning complexity. So obviously we start out with, we were established in 2003. We won a lot of championships. And it says right here, we're your portal to the world of esports, gaming and esports. Okay. That's kind of how we are positioning ourselves. And you'll see why, instead of saying, hey, we're a great esports team, we actually have a lot more to our business I think you'll find interesting. Our core values, for anyone that's followed us over the years, we always have to be forward thinking, innovative thinking. We have a commitment to excellence across the organization, including Esports 3.0 and the investments we've made in our infrastructure here at the Lenovo Legion Esports Center. We try our very best to operate with integrity. And quite frankly, this is quite often missing in this business, and that should be no surprise to anyone. We're certainly not perfect, and I am certainly not perfect. I've made more mistakes than probably any esports owner actively out there, because I've been doing it for 20 years. But if you have a goal for the entire organization to operate with integrity and maintain trust and honesty, I'm a big believer that you can build relationships for the long term. Some are going to be corporate clients that drive revenue. Some are just going to be good friends of the organization that want to see it succeed. And I think both are valuable. Opportunity for all. As you guys know, we've had a very diverse organization for many years. We've worked with a lot of different gamers from around the world. And that's something that's important to us. And people first. People that have been, let go or laid off or cut from teams would probably argue at this point, but it is a core value of ours here, that people do come first. And we have what we affectionately call in the organization, if you'll pardon my French, a no asshole policy. We want to work with good people. We want to spend time with good people every day. We want to be surrounded by people that are passionate about our brand, about esports, and about building cool things and doing cool things with integrity and excellence and forward thinking. So anyway, I probably dwelled a bit too long on that page, but I do find that it's important, and having those values early in a deck like this is important. Again, you're going to see a lot of our creators, and I'll mention them lately. Super excited to work with this great group of talent. Creators, obviously, and we'll get into this towards the end of the deck, enable us to increase our metrics for our corporate partners by placing banner ads and chat different ads through partnership with them. They also help us execute on partner deliverables, because a lot of times our teams are either practicing or traveling all around the world. And if you've got a corporate partner that needs an activation or a stream or a commercial shot, it's quite often difficult to get time on the pros' schedules. So having a really talented group of people with wonderful attitudes who are super hardworking is very important. And these are some of our creators that we currently work with. And of course, the players that you guys probably know the best. Halzer, JT, Grimm, Ali, CRR, Raisebowl, Kimchi, Monsoon, Genie, just a handful of our players, legends of gaming. Now let's get into some stats. I think you guys will find this interesting. These are some of the games we competed in over the last year. Our audience is 83% male, 17% female. We're constantly looking to expand that female audience. In terms of location, 61% of Complexity fans are from the Americas, 22% are from EMEA, and 18% are from APAC. Our combined organization right now, including our streamers, including our players, everyone has a global social footprint, if I can get my foot out of my mouth, of 10.2 million. Our data providers say there's 4.5 million Complexity fans in the United States. Annually, we have about 1.2 billion minutes watched per year, and about 320 million video views per year. And that amounts to about 54 million engagements per year. And again, that's across the entire organization. Later, I'm going to share some stats about the Complexity owned and operated social channels, what their growth rates are, and things like that. And our age range, I find interesting. The biggest one is between 18 and 24. And if you take 18 to 25, you've got a serious chunk. Something we're going to discuss at the very end is like, what types of products should we sell? Because I want your feedback on Twitter. One of the polls I'm going to put up is specifically about Complexity branded cigars, because I got a box for myself and for some corporate partners, and I got blasted with tweets like, when are you going to sell those? We want to make sure that we're setting a good example for the youth that do follow us, while also offering products to those who are of age and might be able to legally gamble or legally enjoy a cigar or a beer like Miller Lite. And we're always trying to kind of balance that out. But this is just a little metric data on what our fans look like and where they come from. So again, this is a general presentation, and this is primarily meant for a conversation starter with a corporate partner, how you can partner with Complexity. Esports alignment, you guys all know the esports. That should be self-explanatory. Digital media content, everything from commercials to live streams, tournaments and things like that. And that rolls over into our events, broadcast, and production business. A lot of our fans around the world don't even necessarily realize that we have a pretty vibrant events production business. We don't do massive events very often. And we'll discuss that here in a minute. And I don't know. What am I flipping around? Are you flipping around on me, Andrew? I don't know. This thing is haunted. We'll discuss our events business in a minute and why it's important to the diversification of our revenue streams and how proud I am of some of the work we've done there. Obviously, esports teams led by Counter-Strike, Rocket League, Apex, Halo. You guys know that stuff. Then it talks about, like, if you're going to be an official team partner, what does that look like? Status, major social headers, website. I mean, this is all real basic stuff. I'm sure everyone new in esports is familiar with, so we won't dwell here. Here's some interesting metrics for you, and we pay different partners to gather this data. And this is from 2024 jersey impressions per Shikenso. And it shows how many views, how many impressions these different places get on the jersey. So when you see esports teams and you'll see different sponsors in different places, there's different prices for different places on the jersey. I guess it's kind of common sense, right? Whereas our front logo gets 78 million impressions a year. The collar gets 377 million. And the sleeves get 141 million, which is interesting. And without going into like a collegiate business course and really boring people, you get earned media value by driving impressions for sponsors. Some sponsors historically have been more interested in qualitative brand placement, meaning they want to be associated with these brands to get the hearts and mind share of the fan bases of these fans. As I've discussed in many other streams, the youth of today simply don't consume media as they once did on television and traditional sports. Now they're on Netflix, they're on Twitch and Kick and YouTube and TikTok and different places. So corporate sponsors realize they have to keep their brand awareness and their brand affinities up with an ever-changing media landscape. And esports is a very powerful way to do that, obviously. So as you're going out and creating custom packages for pitches for corporate sponsors, obviously our star players are important. So we constantly track what are the updated metric figures. How many times is your logo going to be seen if it is on the jersey, and then adjust the price accordingly. Thought maybe you'd find that kind of interesting. JL marketing. Sorry, chat. I'm trying to get through this, not paying too much attention. 1,500 people, man. That's I'm humbled by that. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, it's going to be a bit long, but I really want to dive into some of this stuff, and we're going to get real deep in the weeds here in a minute. But I wanted to start with a broad overview of the organization. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, it's important for the complexity organization that we work with a diversified, really hardworking, talented group of influencers. As you can see up here, while they are playing, as part of our contract with them, we can run complexity banners. This is a deal we did for HEB in the upper right. And then our number one, far and away, best corporate partner over the past few years, Lenovo Legion. And then as we run these metrics across these streams, we track them and can tell the companies how many times their ads have been viewed across multiple games with multiple talent, and offering them a diversified, scattered approach to kind of becoming a part of our esports culture. We'll get more to that in a bit. But examples of deliverables are live sponsored streams. I'm sure you guys have seen influencers do sponsor streams. We can produce commercials, custom content series on TikTok, YouTube, etc. Custom social media activation. This is all like on the menu if you're going to a large corporation like Lenovo and soliciting their business to enter the esports space. And as many people know, we have a real, we've been very proud over the past, 4 or 5 years of the productions we've made. This one on the screen, I'm not going to play right now, but you can find on YouTube. It's called The Call. It's where Tim the Tatman, back when we were working with him, calls the Baca Brothers, and it's something we're super proud of. Being able to produce content around player announcements, around corporate activations, commercials, these sorts of things. We have a pretty good amount of inventory of top tier camera gear and audio gear and lighting, yada yada, and have been blessed really the last few years to work with some of the most talented people in esports at producing content. And as they like to say, in many ways, content is king. And we've been really blessed to work with some awesome people on our content team. Let's see. Now, this is something that we do, and we're going to talk about a few times today, that a lot of people don't realize that we do. In order to diversify our revenues and not be wholly dependent on sponsorship dollars that can rise and fall depending on the macroeconomic background, Complexity has slowly but surely expanded our white label service offering. Okay, what a white label service is, like you run like a gaming tournament for a company, say Lenovo Legion, but Complexity is invisible. So the whole tournament is brought to you by Lenovo Legion, et cetera, et cetera. But we're the ones running the whole thing. We have the tech, we have the gear, we have the experience, we have the producers, we have the cameramen, and we can operate small scale esports events. Now, are we going to go out and throw an ESL? No, that's not our wheelhouse, and that's not our niche in the business. But I think a lot of people don't understand. We've run tournaments in Valorant and Halo. We run Army and Navy esports tournaments. We just ran the Armed Forces Esports Championship. You can see a picture down here. We ran a big event around Madden out on the plaza here at the home of the Dallas Cowboys outdoors. We've run Raced World Firsts with 15, 16-hour daily broadcasts, all here from our facility. We've also run some remote productions. So one thing that we've created is called a sizzle, just a short video to show what those capabilities are as we go out and solicit companies to run some of their esports activations. So I'm going to play this video and several others for you guys. Hope the volume's okay. So as you can see, again, that is like a sizzle reel to show some of the things we've done, some of our capabilities. We can run small online events all the way up to the biggest event Complexity's ever produced is when we were part of Game Square. We produced a Tim the Tatman tailgate here on the property. Had about 9,000 people come through this large gaming festival over 2 days. And we were by far and away kind of tasked with operating that. Obviously, it's Tim's event, but we were kind of the backbone. So that's the biggest event we've ever operated in a physical capacity. But yeah, the white label tournament production and these things, as you'll see when we get into some of the financials, helps us diversify our revenue streams. These are some of the brands and things we've partnered with over the years in different capacities. I won't stop too long here. But having worked with reputable brands is important to attracting other reputable brands. Groups we've collaborated with, we've been real blessed since we got to Dallas, being part of, sharing ownership with the Cowboys for many years. Being on this campus, we've worked with some pretty cool places. And let's get into the appendix of the GP. So if you're a potential sponsor, you're coming to work with us. This is a case study from Lenovo Legion, our lead sponsor, also the naming rights owner of our headquarters, Lenovo Legion Esports Center. So we'll talk about with a new prospective partner. We have branding rights, custom events and tournaments we just talked about. We run kids summer camps, obviously the jersey placement and the pro teams. Things like you can sponsor our Rocket League car. I don't know how many people really realize some of those things. And then we hire data analytics firms to track the impressions that Complexity as an organization drives. For Lenovo in 2023, we did 2.12 billion impressions with 1.31 billion minutes watched, all tracked by independent data providers. 80% of Complexity fans were aware of the Lenovo Legion brand, which is a 45% lift over average esports fans. This number I don't like. We got to get better. 57% of Complexity fans were aware that Legion is a sponsor of Complexity. Easily surpassing, I guess, the Nielsen Esports sponsor awareness norm is 32. So that's pretty good. But I think 100% of Complexity fans should know we work with Lenovo Legion. That's just me. And this just talks a little bit about brand lift, favorability, and usage. And this is a brand lift study conducted by Nielsen. This is the type of data, if you're working with larger corporate partners, that you need to provide them and you keep in your back pocket for future pitches, just so that you can lift and promote a brand in the esports ecosystem. That's why it's in the deck. Here's an interesting one for our CS fans. I think you guys will like this. If you remember, we did an NA Revival Cup. Before the Prize Pick series started, we funded a cup alongside Lenovo Legion, and all the metrics of this are tracked. This is why I'm always saying for fans, it's so important if you just tune in or you like the social media posts or whatever, because you are adding value, you are adding impressions. Your eyeballs and having a stream on help grow the metrics. So here's for the first Revival Cup that we did for Lenovo Legion. We had 3.7 million minutes watched. The peak viewership was 14,000. Damn good, North America. I'm proud of you. It's pretty solid. We had 117,000 stream engagements. And now we calculate the sponsor ROI. Well, we don't. Shikenso Smart CPM does. They got about 4.57 million gross impressions. You can see this green box around the Lenovo Legion in here. And the media value for the one weekend event was estimated to be $54,429 for Lenovo for the first NA Revival Cup. And see, it's important to track these metrics and these numbers. As I said earlier, for years, sponsors were happy with qualitative engagement with the esports community, but the tighter the macroeconomic environment gets, the smaller the marketing budgets get, the more data all your partners demand. You have to have data. You have to track all the impressions, all the likes, everything. So whenever we run any type of event, whenever our players play, whenever our socials are moving and videos are going up, all of it is tracked because we have to gather that data to present to sponsors. And the tighter the economy gets, the more data they demand because they don't have budget for qualitative, fun, cool things. they need impressions and earn media value. Thought some people might find that interesting. So again, we're really honored to work with both the Army and Navy for their active soldier esports programs. We've worked with the BOSS program before, which is better opportunity for single soldiers. We've come alongside the military branches for active soldiers to help provide alternate ways for the soldiers to engage with things they love, like esports and gaming, for their mental health and other programs. So something that we do, a few times a year, and you'll see us tweeting out about it, is we run the Army activations. And I have a video. Just so you can kind of see what that looks like. It's another sizzle.
This is the moment of truth. Total of 1,800 players started this series in July, and here we are about to crown the royal victor of Soldier Showdown 5.
The Soldier Showdown experience is it's very unique. Soldiers, they all play their video games in their barracks rooms, but it's that way for them to connect, whatever game title they're playing, whatever platform they're on. So it just builds that team cohesion then outside that normal mundane work environment.
I think right now he's a little more relaxed because he knows that there's somebody else.
Peekaboo's actually the one that saved him.
No.
And Peekaboo gets knocked.
Peekaboo just took one for the team.
My LT, she sent me the link and was like, hey, I heard you play Apex Squad.
I didn't really think it was going to be as big of a deal as it is. Being able to meet people from across the world, I never really thought that I'd have friends that I never would have met otherwise.
The guy's camping in there.
Oh, no, he was trying to
got him, and he gets
the dub with the victory royale.
And as you can see, this is all
Cat.
This kind of gives a spotlight on some of the things that people are
headquarters.
good at within the military. People just think of you as a soldier, but there's people in the military that are good at all kinds of different things. I found out about it accidentally. I was looking online, saw the program. I was like, oh, I need to get in on this.
1-5, and he's taking some pop shots. Running after him, and there's kill number two.
This is an opportunity of a lifetime.
Opportunity
of a lifetime.
It's come a long way. It's really cool to see it and get even larger now.
You better run.
Here comes the push.
Oh no.
He's down.
The Army is giving me opportunities to be in competitive games.
That
I'll
takes
skip
him
forward
up
a little bit
5.
here. You get
I'm
the
out
idea.
here
This
on the
is
main
our
stage. I'm hanging out in the
Army
lounge.
esports
It's just a way to bring people together.
soldier showdown.
It's
And
really
like I said, it's an honor to be
therapeutic
able to work with our
environment.
active
Aim assist
duty
is your champion
soldiers,
of
and
Soldier Showdown 5.
we're really
powered
grateful to
by
have the contract. It's a
USAA.
meaningful part of our
And then there
revenue,
was
as you'll
one.
see
How do you
here
feel?
when we dive into
I
numbers.
feel good. Top 1% of COD players do it right, so.
That's part of our white label service business. We also work with the Navy. And here's the Armed Forces Esports Championship that we ran, where the qualified teams from all the military branches of active gamers in our military come to our headquarters
Frisco,
and
Texas, the home of
battle
complexity,
for
is
basically the Armed Forces Esports Championship.
Esports Championship.
It was a real
We got
honor
all
to have
6
everybody here,
branches
and we
in the
had
house for a little bit of
military
Halo.
brass from the different branches coming through, and
for
the team did a great job.
I got the email, hey, you've been selected, took
event
it to my command, and then here we are.
Being able to put this jersey on for the Navy, it's a big deal to me. I've never had an experience like this before, so this is definitely life-changing, career-changing for me.
When we arrived here, we were able to get some good scrimmages against the complexity roster. The obvious result was we didn't win a game, but it forced us to be in some sort of worst-case scenarios, and we had to problem solve how to work ourselves out of those. So as long as your ears were turned on, you were learning and actively listening and making the right plays.
We got 6 teams here. They mentioned the buys yesterday. They went to this place across the street, and they had some cognitive testing, some physical testing.
It was very intensive. It was very team-oriented, but very fun.
We also did
relaxing.
advanced physical training,
assessments,
fitness
so it was pretty cool.
evaluations
Reaction
at a
tests,
sports therapy
physical
hospital.
tests, strength tests.
As part of the program.
We're going to do it. All right. Get to work. It did get a little difficult, but it was very fun. Definitely very
Speed
helpful.
testing, hand-eye
Whoever won the
coordination.
overall competitions, they got a first-round bye in the tournament.
These are the top 2 seeds that get the bye. The Navy and the Marine Corps. Navy had the brains. Marines had the brawn.
Of all the branches, I'd say number 1 would have to be the Air Force.
Kind of skip
It's not
ahead
being
here.
my
You
last
kind
name,
of
but
get the point.
it's inherent
It was
pride that I
a really
feel.
cool
Excited,
event
elated. There was a great
that
Halo
we were
play
honored
today.
to host.
I'm excited for the
Hope
next
to
one.
do
We're going
again.
to take the next one.
Frisco, Texas, the home.
And again, for those of you just joining us, 2,000 of you, thanks a lot for stopping by. 2,000 across platforms here. we're just kind of taking a high level overview of the complexity business. Today, you are my board of directors, so I'm going over a review of how a lot of this works. It should hopefully answer a lot of your questions, and we're going to get into a lot more specifics here as we move along, okay? Twitch strategy obviously can apply to other streaming platforms, but is an important part of our business and driving impressions and driving ROI and earned media value for our corporate partners. As you can see, we'll do an on-screen rotator, panel banners on our influencers pages, and we also have a chat bot, and we control the rotator and the chat bot from the headquarters. You can see the on-screen rotator does about 1.2 billion carousel impressions annually. We update it, like I said, from here. The chatbot does about 41 million impressions annually for our corporate partners. And it's a good way for us to message the fans as well. It's another reason working with such awesome influencers is really important to us, because the pros don't have a lot of time to stream. As you know, they're on the road constantly, and if they're not, they're probably boot camping and training. So the influencers are really important partners in our business. And then the click-through underlay panel that's here does about 24 million impressions annually. This is kind of one of our approaches to live streaming and Twitch. You can see this is a picture of what the banner looks like. I think I showed you guys earlier. And then the chat bot that we control via our computers here. We can message. This one is for Lenovo across our network. The chatbot's at 41 million impressions a year. And the panel banner is on like their Twitch page or their Kick page for our influencers. And you'll see Lenovo Legion logo here alongside that. And this is, again, I mentioned earlier, the Tim the Tatman tailgate is back when we were part of GameSquare, and Tim was part of GameSquare and part of Complexity. Complexity, since we're on the property, produced and did a lot of the heavy lifting. We were tasked by GameSquare to really execute the event. So you produce a lot of the analytics, again, 16 million impressions, 12 million video views, 4,200 shares and retweets, approximately $428,000 of social EMV, earned media value. Some of the people who showed up, it was a really good time. Ninja and Courage and Nick Merckx and a lot of cool people came through. But this is just kind of the reason we still have this in our deck, is it shows the types of events that we're capable of executing in a large gaming festival type of arena. Like I said, we had about 9,000 people come through. So let's see what we got here next. Pull up the notes. So that's kind of the GP. That's a high level overview of our business. And now I want to get into, since this is a state of the org, I want to get into some more of the specifics. And of course, we want to start with the teams, right? The players are the lifeblood of everything that kind of builds up. The fans are the lifeblood. The players are the engine. Without the teams and the players, what are we all doing in esports, right? So I just want to kind of go through some of the teams. Right after the acquisition in March, we got off to a really hot start. It was really awesome. With CS qualifying for the major, Rocket League qualifying for the Copenhagen major, Apex qualified for Split 1 playoffs, and Halo played in the Arlington major. So it was like awesome. You just buy back your beloved company that you founded, and the teams all just pop off, which was super cool. We'll get to the bad news in a bit here, but from a competitive standpoint, right after acquisition was huge. And for those that don't really follow Counter-Strike, although I suspect a lot of you do, making a Counter-Strike major can make or break a team-based organization, especially in an economic climate like this. Last year, I think it's been rumored, the Counter-Strike stickers from the last CSGO major were significant, millions and millions from in-game sticker sales and royalties by the teams that qualified for that major. So upon acquiring the company, we did a lot of financial modeling and planning. And to be honest, we had that team making the major because we believed in them in our financial modeling and planning. And if they had not made the major, it would have been a big problem. So we're proud of all of the teams for that pop off that we experienced. But the Counter-Strike team making that major was really huge. I think it's safe to say, and it's pretty widely reported, that the sticker sales from the Copenhagen major have been much more in line with historical norms. AKA disappointing after the insane sticker sales of the last CSGO event. But we're still super happy that the team qualified, because the revenue that it did drive is meaningful and incredibly helpful. So for Counter-Strike, as many of you saw, since being on the stage against FaZe in Australia to finish out last year, we've had a mixed first half of the year. It did end before the player break with the ESL Championship trophy. So I had to pop this bad boy up over here for you guys. Thing weighs like 50 or 60 pounds. I'm not joking. It's like you could just like curl that thing and get a great workout. I can't believe how heavy it is. It's awesome. Super proud of the guys for that win. You can only win the events that you're at, and they were at that event and they won it. Especially coming off a disappointment at Compass, disappointment at IEM Dallas. It was really nice to finish the season strong with a trophy. And then we had the player break. And since the player break, it's been definitely frustrating. I was with the team in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and we did not play well. I think everyone knows that. And currently, we are playing in Blast in Copenhagen. And we just lost a Heroic with who's playing a coach, an amazingly talented coach who can apparently flick really well on Vertigo, but a coach nonetheless. They grabbed a win from OG today, which is awesome. Sets up a rematch for Heroic later this week. But the point is, they'll be the very first people to tell you that they are playing well below what they're capable of, and well below what the expectations of our fans are, and what the expectations of everyone in this office are. There's a lot of challenges of remaining loyal to North America and Counter-Strike and being competitive internationally. So I just want to tip my hat to this group of players and their coaches and managers, and Graham, the general manager, and Soren, the GM of all our games, in that we've bounced right around the top 10 for a long time now. To be honest with you, our players get a monthly bonus if they're in the top 10. You know, we break it up. We believe in incentivizing players for doing well, and they're costing me like another 200 grand or something this year because they're in the top 10, which is great. That's the goal. Just cost me a lot more money. So I want to tip my hat to them, that coming from North America, your back is always against the wall. You've heard me talk about this before. The amount of travel required, the amount of time you spend in hotels and boot camps and away from your family is incredibly difficult. And then, you know, I get a lot of people tweeting at me and messaging in Discord like, this guy's got to go, or this player's got to go. And I get it. Believe me, when we lost to M80 in Riyadh, I had a business meeting right after the match, and I had to kind of reset my mental. But I was super pissed, and I was super disappointed, and I was embarrassed, to be honest. So I get your frustration when you're blasting me. And some of you, you make big bets and you lose money, and you come at me on Twitter, and that's fine. That's my job. But we're very aware of where the team is, and believe me when I say, if you're frustrated, imagine how frustrated we are, and the players too. They work really, really hard, the players and staff on that division, and they get frustrated as well when things aren't going our way. But if you look at our dedication to NA and remaining competitive on an international scale, this is a very difficult problem. Frankly, the NA pipeline is very lean, if not almost non-existent. And that's why we're doing our NA Revival things and trying to lead by example of building up the North American scene to be much more competitive in Counter-Strike. And we'll get to some of those events in a bit here. And then, you know, it's like, oh, you just flip this for that, or this guy. It's like, number one, our goal is to stay NA. We want to be loyal to this region and not abandon it. Number two, you've got roster locks for different events. Number three, you've got Valve rankings. If you move players around, your ranking can be affected. You saw recently Team Liquid's had a couple of roster changes, and then their ranking didn't reflect at all the skill of the team, but that's just not how it works. So if you want to get invited to events and you're making like 2 or 3 player changes, good luck. It's going to take time to battle back and claw your way up the Valve rankings. And then you got majors to consider. Like I said earlier, qualifying for majors can make or break many orgs. And orgs that don't make the majors, you've seen their announcements like, we're sorry to say we're leaving Counter-Strike. That's kind of where Counter-Strike is right now for a lot of orgs in this tough economic climate. So these are not easy decisions. To make player changes to the complexity roster right now takes a lot of contemplation, and there's a lot of moving pieces. And I want to say that I am very disappointed with their current state of play. But I've also seen much better teams in different sports, baseball, American football, NBA, go through slumps. Are we number one, number two in the world? Of course not. Right now, we're not even playing like top 20 in the world. Do I believe that we have the skill? Do we have the staff? Do we have the heart to consistently be number 10 to represent North America and make this region proud? I do. If and when they can't pull themselves out of this slump through our help and the coach's help and everything that we're trying to do, we will evaluate changes because that's our job. But I still believe in this team. My heart is still with this team. God willing, I'm going to Rio with this team. But we hear you, and we are just as frustrated as many of our fans when they just don't play well. Like, you're always going to lose some, win some, but right now we're playing so below our potential. It's frustrating. I just ask that you stick with the team, that you have their backs, that you send them encouraging messages, because they've been on the road a while already. It's easy to get down. Your mental gets down. The communications break down. Relationships break down. So your support and your kindness and your messages on, across X and Discord and everything else mean a lot to the players. So that's kind of where we're at with Counter-Strike. Very aware of the issues that we're facing. Painfully aware of the difficult, embarrassing losses we've suffered since the player break. But I still believe in these guys. And I believe they're gonna show me right. Now, is it the best possible lineup I could build, just skill wise and everything? Probably not. But if you start with number one, where our goal is to remain loyal, at least for now, to the North American scene, it's difficult to envision a better roster. And frankly, you also want to operate within intelligent, sustainable budgets. If you took a few $1,000,000, you could go out, probably spend 3-4 million, buy out all these crazy players, build a super team. Of course, we've seen that done many times. But sustainable business, as we'll get into in a minute, and you're going to see some figures, is also really important. Otherwise, you won't be able to afford a Counter-Strike team in 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, because you won't be in business. So there's always these balances. Dedication to NA, budgets, roster locks, majors, pipeline. There's a lot that goes into these decisions, and that's why we're doing the state of the org, and that's why I'm acknowledging the struggles the team is having right now and explaining some of our mindset, how we approach it. Because I think a lot of people that really love complexity and really want to see us win and hoist more trophies are really frustrated. So anyway, I'm stuck the longest on Counter-Strike because I know probably a lot of people here are very interested in that. In terms so far this year, Rocket League, we're really excited about the roster that we have. We narrowly missed Worlds, so we won't compete again till next year, which is tough. It's frustrating having esports where if you don't make like one event, you go 6 months off. I don't think that's the right format, but we'll let people argue about all that on X and Reddit. Our goal for Rocket League is to return to North America next year. That was our goal last year. Ran into visa issues, so they competed in South America. Made a nice little rivalry with our friends at Furia. But we're still real bullish on Rocket League heading into next year. We're part of the Halo partnership program. We had a forced rebuild after an SSD incident in London, and our Halo fans and followers will probably know more about that. I don't want to get into that headache. We did get a top 8 at the FaZe Major. Real proud of the Ayashes and the squad. They're always in here boot camping and working really, really hard and fighting against different kinds of adversity, to be honest. And really proud of him and the Halo squad. Apex, if any of you follow that, Monsoon and the boys made Split 1 playoffs and qualified for Split 2 playoffs. and they're hoping to make worlds, man. We're really, really proud of Monsoon. He's been in the family for a long time, and to see him competing at this level for so long while being a leader and a voice and a big influencer in the Apex community, we're super proud of that. Of course, Madden and Dreeny are still part of the family. Dreeny played in the Madden Bowl, finished top 8, losing to the eventual winner. And then we've got our talent that I mentioned earlier, Maddie and Electra and Ames and Alan Avi and Super JJ and Asmodai and Dreads and Hunter and AA9 Skills and Amazonian and Njayla. We work with some awesome, wonderful people across the spectrum that live stream for our organization damn near every day of the week. It's always on entertainment. Next, we're going to move on to community. Start with the players. Now I want to go into the community. We're going to get to the business for business nerds here in a minute. And I warned you this is going to take a while. I try to put a little bit of effort into this, and I want to try to revisit this, call it every 6 to 9 months. Because like I've said a couple times, you're important here. If you're sitting in this stream, we want you to be an educated member of the Complexity family. We want you to know the ups and the downs. We want you to know the battles that we're fighting, the fears that we have. We want you to be educated about our business. Today, you're my board of directors. So we're really getting into it. The community, Katie and her team have been doing an awesome job building out the Discord since March. We have fantasy leagues for HLTV and Blast Counter-Strike, Face It, LFG chat and lobby voice chats. And just in case you didn't know, because we've soft launched this and we didn't want to make a really big deal of it, we have a Face It clan now. And we're giving away $1,500 a month on our leaderboard. So you can go on Face It if you're a Counter-Strike player, join the Complexity clan, please do, and participate. And we actually have some more activities we're going to be doing on there that are not yet announced. So if you play Counter-Strike, definitely head over and join the Complexity Face It clan page. And there's still time this month to probably battle your way to the top of the leaderboards and make some money. So go check that out over on Face It. Katie's also been running trivia on our Discord, building out community programs with Complexity trivia and Counter-Strike trivia and more. We've got a new Discord rankings and point system. Katie asked me to put in here, who's going to be the number one Complexity fan on Discord? Now we track with points. We've been doing watch parties as we've been doing for a long time. Back in 2020 when everyone was stuck at home, I joined some watch parties and then I cried on one and I didn't even know I was on the camera. And anyway, that turned out to be a thing. But watch parties are awesome. And we hop in there with our fans whenever we can. So head over to the Discord and join us and just hang out with us. It'd be cool. And we do AMAs over there as well, Twitch and Discord AMAs. And we're working on a more advanced fan program where you can earn points towards unique experiences, discounts, and more. There's been different groups that have done different kinds of fan programs. I don't think we necessarily need to completely reinvent the wheel. I'd rather get something out quickly and then just build on further iterations. But yeah, we're working on something like that. And I'll mention that again a little bit later. In terms of our socials, Complexity Socials just owned and operated properties. So far this year, the team has done 2,213 posts. It's a lot of social posts. This goes across our YouTube channels, our TikTok, our X, our Facebook, everything, Instagram. We have a team that is busy always catching gaming clips, that's busy always creating art for our socials. So if you don't follow Complexity across the platforms, please consider doing so because they work really hard at it. 2,200 posts in the year's just a little bit over half over. It's not bad. We've had 34.6 million video views this year so far. You can check out our CS YouTube if you're a CS fan. Total followers for the owned and operated Complexity properties, not including all the players and talent, I mentioned that number earlier, is 1.2 million today. So far between January 1st and July 29th of this year, we've gained 105.7 thousand followers. Not bad. A lot of that growth has come from TikTok. We have 70,000 new TikTok followers, 33,000 new followers on YouTube. Our X remains stagnant. The account's really old. To be honest, we're not exactly sure what to do with the main Complexity account. It's got 289,000 and just seems frozen. We lose people as fast as we gain people. I don't know. It's difficult to drive growth on X, but we're seeing tremendous growth on TikTok. I mean, 70,000 people, it's a football field. our football stadium full. And so far this year, we have 1.5 million engagements across those properties, people commenting and liking and interacting with us. So the social media run by Scott Cole and his team is doing a great job so far this year. Now let's get into the business. We've done the players and talent. We've talked about the community. Now we're going to get into the business. Could get interesting, right? Appreciate y'all being here. 2,300 of you. I'm really humbled. Hey, Bonneman, how you doing, buddy? He's our Hallzerk fan. Fragtastic. How you doing? Brandon Lee. Good to see everybody. I appreciate you coming through on all the different platforms. So let's get into the business. Obviously, it's a very challenging market. Everyone knows the esports winner, this, that, and the other thing. Buying a company, an esports team in this market, even if it's one you founded and you consider your third child, was a risky endeavor. And I mentioned that earlier. I won't say it was a difficult decision because me and my family and we're so emotionally attached to this brand. But logically, it was a difficult decision, if that makes sense. Emotionally, not at all. Hell yeah, I'm buying back Complexity. Logically, it was challenging. Like I said earlier, leading up to the potential acquisition, Kyle Bautista, my COO, and I ran numerous financial models ad nauseum till Excel spreadsheets were popping out of our eyes and our just eyes were bleeding from running all this modeling. Then, remember earlier when I said, hey, as soon as we bought the company, the teams popped off and it was like, holy crap, this is great. Well, on the financial side, it went the other way. Early in the year, I'd been speaking with a betting partner for our Counter-Strike team. And if you're not familiar with Counter-Strike, I would say almost every, if not every team in the top 10 or 15 has a really solid betting partner because there's a very vibrant market there where, of age people that can go in and bet on the scene. And regardless where you stand on, is it good for the scene or not, whatever, I think it's added a lot of life and sustainability to the Counter-Strike ecosystem. So not having a partner like that has set us back for years because we're based in America, where some of these activities are not legal to go online and place a bet on a Counter-Strike match. Whereas our competitors from Brazil and the big European teams and some teams in Asia, they don't have those drawbacks, you could say. So I'd finally started to make progress with a betting platform. We were damn near to contract, and I was feeling very comfortable about including those financials in our forecasting models before I bought the company. And then we bought the company right around the time. It was kind of simultaneous. They came to me and said, we are so sorry. We know we've been speaking about this and planning about this for months. But there's this other team in Europe that we wanted to work with, and they've come back to us and said, yeah, let's do it after first declining. So we got left at the altar at the very last minute. And we're talking left at a 7-figure altar. Real punch in the stomach, to be honest. Followed up by we were working with a company that is a tech company that does analytics and biometric feedback and things. And we had a meaningful, substantial deal with them. And they were going about to raise for the next phase of their business model. I think it was mass production for distribution of the product. I'm not exactly sure. But they got embroiled in a lawsuit during the capital raise, and the investors backed out and the company went bankrupt. So in a short order after buying back Complexity, we lost a 7-figure betting deal, and we lost a sponsor. And then another sponsor that I hope to work with again sometime. So I'm not going to name all these things. Didn't renew a very lucrative deal that we'd had for multiple years, which was a bit disappointing because they had invested quite a bit in Fortnite UEFN maps, which I get. But with their budgets shrinking due to the economy, we were kind of, at least for this year, the ones kind of left once again standing at the altar. So this is all kind of a long, convoluted way to say, you jump in, you recruit your best friend in the world. Hey, Ben, if you're watching, to help you get this company back, company that you founded 22 years ago, 21 years ago. And the teams pop off and everyone's celebrating and, you know, popping champagne. I don't drink alcohol, but I'm sure there was some champagne. And then the finances fall out from under your feet. You want a real state of the org. That's a real state of the org. That's just business, right? You model and you plan and you have expectations and you run probabilities, and sometimes it all falls through the floor, which, you know, is difficult emotionally. It's incredibly stressful on the people that are helping you build the project. So after all of this kind of transpired, not long after the acquisition, our new updated budget forecasting was showing over a $300,000 cash shortfall by Q4. So if that can't keep you up at night and stress you out while you're running around the world, you know, working to grow the business, that'll do it, right? So that was stressful. We have grouped together as a family and as a team. We've tightened our belts. We've lowered our expenses. We've made all the adjustments that we can make. We've been pounding the sales trail, which I'll get to here in a minute. And we have lowered that number. And I'm going to get into some more financials here in a minute. But we've lowered that number. We're in some really exciting conversations with corporate partners that we really hope to work with. So let's talk a little bit about who are our partners and potential partners. First and foremost, Lenovo Legion, like I said, is the naming rights partner of our headquarters. We are sitting in the Lenovo Legion Esports Center, and their support over the past few years has been absolutely invaluable. And if you're ever considering a PC or some of the other products they offer, I ask you please to consider Lenovo. Lenovo's support of this organization at times has dang near single-handedly kept it alive. And I can't begin to express my gratitude to Lenovo and their partnership. So thank you very much for that. We've worked with other awesome partners, of course, you know, Miller Lite and Dairy Max and others. And we're eternally grateful for the companies that want to work with us, that want to run events with us. Like I said earlier, super honored to be working with the Navy and the Army and working alongside those programs and driving our white label service business. And of course, we're always working on future partners because if you're not analyzing a Counter-Strike roster, you need to be out selling. And that's what we've been doing. So I have a bit of good news for you, our esteemed viewer. And a bit of an announcement. This is a pre-announcement because the official PR is not going out. So you are first to hear about it today here live on a State of the Org. We have signed a partnership with Glitch Energy, which is an awesome energy drink. It's made out of, the base is out of Florida, and we absolutely love the family that runs the organization. And we are going to be releasing a complexity flavored drink. And it's going to be in Walmarts and online later this year for sale. So you'll see the official PR come out first. We're partnered with Glitch, and then we'll probably do another PR around the flavor once we get that hammered out. And literally like waiting for UPS to show up as we're like sampling different flavors because we want whatever the complexity flavor is to be something we like. And we hope that you'll support it both in Walmart and online. And we hope you'll support Glitch Energy. We'll be coming out with more formal news on that real soon. But you are the first to know because today you're the board of directors. I got to check my producer, make sure I'm not messing with anything. I'm good, Andrew. All right. Also, in very good news, we are hoping to sign a Web3 protocol very soon. We are in the final clean contract, and we're super excited about it. We're super excited about working with this protocol, advancing kind of their exposure in the esports industry and building some cool things with them. As many of you know, I'm a believer in Web3, despite some of the controversies around NFTs, yada yada yada. I believe in the technology, and I'm super excited that we finally seem to. Nothing's official till the ink is dry. We seem to have finally got to terms with an internet protocol, and what this is going to do is really enable us to unlock a lot of cool programs and community events and different types of tournaments as part of the deliverables to market for this group. And I don't want to spoil it, especially since it's not signed now. But it's super good news. And it's going to kind of ripple in other really cool things for you guys to do and you guys to participate in. So we're really excited about that. And ironically enough, I am in talks with another leading betting platform around Counter-Strike, because as I said earlier, wherever you stand on these things, we are at a severe disadvantage in the world of Counter-Strike by not partnering with this ecosystem of companies. And I got left at the altar pretty bad by a company you would all recognize, but I'm just not that guy. But even more exciting, I'm in early conversations, which look really promising with even a better company, and hopefully we'll go from there. I don't feel it'd be professional to share all the companies that we're just speaking with, because I just don't think that's appropriate for a live broadcast. But we're really excited about it. I'm really excited about it, and I think we might be able, if we can get it done in August, we might be able to do some really cool stuff down in Rio. If we have any of our Brazilian friends in the chat, stay tuned for that. We really need a solid peripherals partner. A lot of the peripherals companies have not been as supportive of esports, in my opinion, recently. So we're actively trying to speak, with the keyboard companies, the mouse companies, and some of those things. I think we do a really good job working with a peripheral partner. If they want to align with what we're trying to do here and with our vision, that is definitely on the to-do list. You can go down a list of all the obvious ones, from airlines and soft drinks and different things that we need to start moving on, but that's kind of should be a low-hanging fruit type of way to drive revenue. And again, in terms of the business, I'm going to get into some of the numbers. I'm going to show you some pie charts. Anyone like pie? Show you where our revenue is derived from. But obviously sponsorship is a huge part of that. Losing a conversation, losing a couple sponsors back to back right after acquisition was really suboptimal, and it's put our cash flows under a lot of duress, to be honest. But rather than just going and squatting in the corner and feeling bad for ourselves, we go back out and we battle, and we try to get conversations with groups that would like to align with us, and that's exactly what we've been doing virtually 24/7. Other part of the business, as I mentioned earlier, is our white label service business. We've been super excited to work with Army and Navy. We have a new relationship with U.S. Youth Soccer, if I can speak. It's one of the largest groups of football, Europeans across America, and we're bringing gaming activations. We've done a couple test runs, and we're pretty confident we can build that into a pretty meaningful partnership in terms of our white label service business. Another thing, obviously, is merchandise, and I want to say thank you. The response post acquisition was record breaking. And it's super appreciated, especially like the throwback complexity logo stuff that we made. You guys really showed up, and we're really thankful. I've been hit up by a couple of people that are still waiting for the 4th of July red, white, and blue logo, and that is absolutely coming. As we say right on the website, some of the stuff just takes us 6 to 8 weeks to get produced and turned around and sent out, so we apologize for that, but we try to be really clear on the order page. So you guys will be getting that merch in super soon, and Scott Ford and his team are doing a banger job on our merch. We're always seeking new product ideas. Send us your ideas, tweet at us, let us know what you'd like to see, and we're going to be exploring different things, and including our energy drink and different types of merchandise, and maybe cigars, and we'll get to that at the end. So many cigar fans follow me. I love it. Another thing that you might not really know that drives meaningful revenue from us are boot camp rentals. We put quite a bit of capital into the facility that I'm sitting in right now, and the best internet, the best tech, Lenovo Legion computers. We have a backup power supply for our gaming room. So if there's a storm and the power goes out in this whole part of the city, our gamers can keep playing for up to 3 hours. And to the best of my knowledge, we might be the only esports organization in the world with a UPS. It's a backup power supply, so they could keep gaming if they're an important qualifier. So teams like to come here. Dallas is centrally based. You get pretty decent pings all over America. There's a lot of esports events here. A lot of times we're booked where our teams are not using the rooms. We're renting them out to other teams because it helps drive diversification of our revenue for the company. And depending on the demand and what's going on, these are $7,500 to $10,000 a week to rent these rooms and to come in and use our facility. So when it's booked up and there's teams on a waiting list, yeah, it's meaningful revenue. And I think a lot of people wouldn't think like, oh, you got a bit of a boot camp business going on. Yeah, Scott Ford also runs that. He runs merchandise, he runs the facility, and he runs the boot camp orchestration. So really excited about that. And thank you to everyone who's boot camped here. A couple of you have not paid us yet. I'm going to be kind and not call you out on a live stream, but please pay your 90-day past due invoices because I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. We've also added new data partners, including Shikenso. As I went over the GP earlier, you could see the importance of being able to track the data, show your metrics, your earned media value, and some of these things. We've really enjoyed working with Shikenso, and thank you for their partnership. We use some other data providers. Obviously, we use Blinkfire, we use Nielsen, but tracking the data is a huge project. And shout out to Andrew and Scott Cole and Kyle Bautista for really revolutionizing how we present how we gather our data, how we present our data, how we back up our data, not only for current partners but for future. That's been a big improvement we've made since March. In terms of capital raise, you go out and raise funds to run the business and everything. I think we're definitely going to have to get there at some point. The market, honestly, is probably the worst I've ever seen. And I speak to people that I call them connectors. They connect capital with, good businesses that need capital to grow or to scale or to expand. I speak to all my connectors, and they're not just working in the gaming or esports industry. They're working in a lot of industries, and capital's dried up. People just figure like, hey, if I can get 6% dropping on T-bills, zero risk, why not just stick it in there and not be exposed to any risk? Called going risk off. And it seems to me, from what I've been able to ascertain this year, most bigger investors and whales are very risk off right now. Despite the S&P doing, surprisingly well through this disastrous economy, people are not really investing. So we'll continue to seek good capital partners. As I'm out and about, I will continue to seek the right types of partners that we want to be aligned in part of the Complexity family and that can deliver not only capital value, but hopefully additional value. If you followed the public announcements of the acquisition, I used $10 million and change in debt on a 3-year note. That's all public information. So yeah, I've got that monkey on my back, and super grateful to be able to get the transaction done and get everything finished. But it weighs on me that I've got to make sure not only are we growing the business, but I need to make sure that I'm ahead of the capital raise. And the market's incredibly difficult right now. Told you it was going to be a transparent State of the Union. But I'm a believer and an optimist, and I have faith that this is all going to come together. I believe we're going to find the right people. I believe that the Complexity community is going to continue to grow. I believe that, our story is not over. And when I say our, I don't only mean the people in this building. I mean you. Our story is not over. So, yes, we will be going out if there's any questions about a capital raise and seeking the right partners, because obviously when you bring in capital partners, you get what's called diluted, means you own less of the company. And there's only a certain amount of dilution I will allow for me and my best friend business partner at any one time, absent maybe someday a full exit. I don't know. But it needs to be the right partner under the right terms. So I hope I haven't put y'all to sleep too much. Like I said, this will be a bit of a longer one. Yes, Andrew, my producer. I'm going to full transparency for you all. Let's get into some of these numbers. You want to know complexity as an esports organization and kind of where we're at. In 2023, we did roughly $10.2 million in gross revenue. But as I mentioned earlier, if you were following along, that was a bit stretched because of a massive major event in terms of royalties and sticker money. Our current estimated 2024, and again, this is not done, we still got a good chunk of the year left, is about $8.8 million. And it's still early to be projecting 2025, but we project to make about $9.4 million. Again, Complexity is not the biggest org running dozens of websites and, with massive global operations. I'm friends with many of the people that run those orgs, and they have my respect and my admiration, but Complexity is a bit different. We're more of a family, tier one organization than a large kind of corporate entity. Do I believe we can scale these revenues and double and triple them in the next decade? I absolutely do. But here's a snapshot. You want to see the real world. This is Complexity's estimates, and these are real. So you want to see kind of where they come from. And I'm going to show you the pie chart next. League fees, our partnership leagues across different games are estimated about 1.35 this year. Royalties of all kinds using our IP inside the games, Counter-Strike stickers, things like that, are estimated to be about 2.5 this year and about 2 in 2025. You'll also notice the league fees drop off estimate in 2025 because that whole structure is changing because Valve has kind of changed the rules, and that's cool. We'll adapt and improvise as we always have. Sponsorship is obviously a huge chunk of any esports team-based organization's revenue. This year, we're estimating about 3.2, and next year about 4.2. Services, this gets into the white label stuff we do and the production stuff that we do that you might not have even been aware of until today. I scrolled up chat. Is estimated about 1.3 and about 1.8 next year. Pricing, we're just kind of estimating flat 300 get. Okay, that can jump up or down, but the reality is it does move the top line, the gross revenue, but the players rightfully, get a lion's share of the prize money, so it doesn't necessarily help the business too much. Pricing is more kind of for the players historically in esports. And then other random revenue. So we're looking at about 8.8 this year and about 9.3. We do a really good job building solid margins. A margin for those might not really be in a business is, say you sell something, a service for $100, but it cost you $80 to perform that service. That's a $20 profit or roughly a 20% margin. So when you're running a business, the margin makes it's important. A lot of groups will try to drive up their top line with all this. We're going to add this in the top line. We're going to add this, but their margins are dog shit. If you're making $100 million a year, but it costs you $95 million to make that $100 million, you only got a 5% rough margin, right? So the margin is important for the profitability and sustainability of any enterprise. And we do a really good job with our margins. We're nimble. I have a super talented group of coworkers, and we do a good job. But even with good margins and even with some of these numbers, the reality is we're not yet quite to break even. I'm really proud of both the growth we've seen in the revenue and the steps we've continually taken to tighten our belts and lower our expenses. But I don't think we'll probably get to that break-even profitability this year. I'm hopeful on next year. The truth is, if we hit some of our goals, we'll probably be around break-even. This is a longer-term play. This is more like owning a sports property than trying to scale X or Instagram. So there's a little more transparency. I really was kind of hoping this year, to be honest with you, we're going to break well through profitability. Maybe not 7 figures, but 6 figures of profitability. But like I said, we've had some adversity, and try not to get too, emotional. Got a bit screwed by some people, and that's the way business goes. You have your expectations and you run your models, and then the revenue doesn't come to fruition for a multitude of reasons. And that's real talk on this state of the org. So those are numbers. And to show it in a pie form, I promised you pie charts. Thank you, Scott Cole, for making this. If you look at the complexity business 2024, sponsorships, pretty big chunk. Royalties, selling our IP, stickers and other ways of monetizing our IP, pretty big chunk. League fees are a pretty big chunk. The problem is next year it's probably going to be cut in half. Ouch. Pricing isn't really that meaningful to our top line, and the margins on pricing are terrible anyway. And our service business, we expect will grow 5% year over year. But yeah, so that's kind of that. Let me get this off my screen and see what we got next. I am sorry this is really taking forever, but I warned you it was going to. We are kind of getting down towards the end. Again, our tourneys and events, something we're really proud of, both our white label stuff and the more public things. One of the things I announced in January that I really wanted to do, I think it was January, was a North America Revival LAN. And we tried our best to get it pulled off for May of this year, right before IEM DreamHack Dallas. Couldn't get companies to come in and support us on that effort. It was a short runway, to be fair. And as you just heard, we were getting battered with some pretty bad news, one step after the other. But we haven't given up that dream. And the NA LAN is, I'm going to show you guys the deck. Let me see. Let me get it set up. I'm going to show you guys the deck that we were kind of showing companies and showing partners that might be interested in working with us in the NA Counter-Strike Revival. So you can see what these things kind of look like. This one's a little stale. The dates are all, kind of older. But I'm going to show you what this deck looks like. This is what we were taking to market earlier this year to try to bring this land together. And you'll see kind of the breakdown. Okay. The idea is bringing back the spirit of the CS Summit through a way to offer teams an online way to qualify. We'd invite some teams, and then we'd have the finals here at our headquarters. Prize pool $25,000. These are teams that we were looking to invite. Just kind of explains what the tournament is. We're going to start a 64-team open online qualifier, move into an 8-team online closed qualifier. Then we'd have 3 teams that would come to our headquarters to play the complexity squad in a 4-team LAN final. It's kind of just showing how the breakdown was. Okay. And then we just talk about our tournament production. I've shown you this sizzle already about we're fully capable of executing this event. We're actually super good at it. Here's some of the people we're going to invite to the event, to possible invites for the summit style, hanging out on couches, talking about OG Counter-Strike. I also talked to Matt Dickens, Warden, recently, and I want to get him up here if I can pull this event off. Just bring some of the OGs back and hang out on the couch and just have a really good time broadcasting the event and shooting the shit. I think it'd be really cool. So this is, again, and with their social support, the potential impressions we're estimating, we're back to impressions. See how critical these things are when you're trying to pitch something, the marketing world or advertising or sponsorship world. We're estimating 25 million impressions. And then we have to set up the whole timeline. When are these posts coming out? Instas, TikToks, X, and it's like you can see how everything is put out and where all these impressions come from. Media partners, influencers. This is what you got to do just to try to move a short weekend LAN event. Thought you might find it kind of interesting. The dates are obviously from this year, whatever. We break down, this is a schematic of our headquarters. So we show the potential partner. Here's where our cameras are going to be. Soren loves doing this. He's super good at it. We got cameras in the team room. We got 7 cameras in this team room, 7 cameras in this team room. Okay. We have traffic flow here. The couch is all here. So we can broadcast the whole summit vibe. Up here is like spectating. We'll have our catering up here. We always provide full catering whenever we have these events at our headquarters. And we'll have another team over here with 7 cameras, 6 POV and 1 room camera. Passive video display, which is actually on that wall right there behind me. So it's all laid out. How's the production going to look? How's it going to function? It's all planned out by my team. And then this is a slide from a previous deck that you guys saw. Where is your logo going to appear? This picture up here where my mouse is was an actual event we ran called Cozy Clash. It was a Valorant event last holiday season. We'll show where your logo goes, and like here's in game where your logo could go, and it just kind of explains what you can get. Estimate main broadcast 12,000 estimated impressions, over 11.5 million over the weekend. This is pretty cool. I think you guys will like this. As part of this event that we'd like to run, right next door to us is Sidecar Social. It's this huge like sports bar, massive screen. So we want to have a watch party of Counter-Strike up on all these big screens, and then the players will come and sit down, and the fans can come through, get autographs or whatever, and have an old school like watch party with Counter-Strike fans. You can watch the event, and then the players will come down and hang out. It was kind of all designed around this LAN event. And this is a deck we were actually pitching it with. So yeah, you can kind of see a little bit how some of these things are done and how we go out and pitch them. And the good news is I'm grown very confident we're going to be able to do this event. It'll probably be next May before DreamHack. But the cool thing is I'm confident that we're going to be able to do it. Let me see where I am on my notes. I think you'll find this interesting as well. So after you run an event, like we ran the NA Revival, and I showed you that slide with some of the metrics. Remember from the NA Revival weekend event sponsored by Lenovo. So I'm going to show you. Come on, man. I'm getting tired. Slideshow. Now I'm going to show you a report that actually went out. This is a real report. It's a post-event report for that Revival Cup. It's kind of an expanded version of what I showed you earlier. So you run an event, you've got a sponsor, you're bringing in the revenue, you've promised them you're going to do certain things. Now comes in the post-event report. We do these monthly for our big partners, quarterly for other partners like complexity partners, and you have an annual review. You need really talented people just to put all of these reports together and gather all of this data. And I'm super lucky that I work with so many of them in the room behind me. But here's kind of what the report looked like for the NA Revival Cup, the very first one we did that we ran and paid for with Lenovo before the Prize Pick series kicked off. So you're showing like the social media, you're showing the ads running. Here's a Flom tweet. Here's a tweet from me. Here's Reddit posts. You're showing the exposure. There's another tweet from me. And then you go, what are the impressions across social? We had 200 teams sign up, 6,720 engagements, 121 posts. Show the actual art that was generated for the event. So the teams that run the marketing budgets and run your account with your corporate partners can see, okay, we're paying X dollars. What are we getting? And then they can take these reports to their superiors, be like, look, this is awesome. They kicked ass. The metrics are amazing. The EVM was amazing. And this is how this part of the business kind of works. And again, we're showing like tweets from the complexity account. Nouns won this event. And then there's a video in here we won't watch right now, but it's top 5 plays. And you can see the Lenovo Legion logo here. NA Revival Cup is the first one we ran. And again, it breaks down how it worked, who qualified, who were the invites, and then Nouns won that first one. So for every one of these now, for the Prize Picks Revival series, we will be producing these reports for Prize Picks. And again, this slide you already saw, media value estimated at $55,000 for the weekend event. Just goes in a little bit of sentiment from the fans. See, when I tell you what you post and what you say and what you like and what you view matters, because everyone's watching. Like, companies that are kind enough and, bold enough to sponsor our ecosystem or our teams or our events, they're watching. And if you're taking shots at them or you're bad mouthing them or whatever, you're just trying to escort them out the back door of the industry, and you're damaging the industry. If you're loving it and you're thanking the sponsors and you're thanking the people that put it together, you're adding value to the industry. Like, I'm not saying just be a puppet and just parrot the official party line or whatever. I'm just saying you matter and your voice matters, even if you're just clicking the stream and watching it, because it's all tracked. It needs to be. So that's a little bit of that. We're reaching the end here for those who are really falling asleep. I just thought you'd find it interesting to see, like, here's how we take an event like this to market. And here's like a post event kind of doc and how we show what we accomplished. And of course, like I've mentioned a couple times, we're now working with Prize Picks in collaboration with Mythic and Flom for the Prize Picks NA Revival, which is a good time to bring up that because of the Counter-Strike schedule, we have a short runway between the July event, which recently concluded, and the August event, which is actually this weekend. So if you're a Counter-Strike player and you have not signed up for the August event, please sign up. We want to break over 200 different teams again, and we really, really appreciate your support of our efforts to try to grow North American Counter-Strike. Look, the truth is, these events right now have no margin for us. Remember we talked about margin? That's a fancy way of saying we don't make any money. We're basically volunteering our organization's time to put this event on right now because we give a shit about NACS, North American Counter-Strike, and we want to help it grow. Do we hope we can build the series and eventually get margin for the different groups that are involved? Of course we do. We run a business. But right now we're doing it, because we want to be leaders in the scene. We want to support this scene. And selfishly, we need a pipeline for the pro American orgs to draw from for talent and for really skilled players. And right now we don't have that. So it's not completely altruistic. There are some selfish motives, but this is also a slow burn. We are planting seeds that might come up for years. But the NACS scene has done so much for complexity and been so good to complexity over the years. This is something we're really passionate about, and we're really grateful to Prize Picks for coming in and sponsoring this event. So, and again, this online series is different from the LAN series. I'm hoping we can still put on this LAN series. I'm seeking sponsorships in that regard. In terms of other tournaments and events we do on the business side, we just ran a college football 2025 with Drini. We're really investigating expanding our event offerings into sports video games. So you might see us doing more of that. We've been doing Rocket League productions alongside our Rocket League team when they play, which has been pretty cool. And Lenovo has sponsored those. And again, I've mentioned several times the Armed Forces white label events that we're doing, USU Soccer. And we're also working on a couple other event productions I can't quite elaborate on, but you'll see us kind of doing events in some pretty cool games and some pretty different outside the box type ways of thinking. So let's get to the future. We've done the players and the talent. We've done the community. We've done the business. We've done the tournaments. Let's get to the future. Our focus is going to be staying loyal to our core values, competitive excellence, esports 3.0. If you don't know, it's advanced player care and development, something that we have kind of spearheaded and are super, super proud of. I won't stand on that soapbox today. Like I mentioned, we're super passionate about a community engagement. We have a lot of plans that we're going to roll out to better communicate with you and to better engage with you. And we ask that if you'd be so kind that you would engage back with us and join some of the community programs. Obviously, we want to keep growing our social footprint and always looking for different ways to be relevant across social media for numerous obvious reasons. We want to be a leader in Web3 gaming, and I'm a big believer where gamers own their in-game assets and can trade them on marketplaces, and we want to be a leader in that space. Shout out to Spike, who's our top advisor in that regard. We obviously want to and need to add new and exciting corporate partners. And I'm really confident that we're going to, because we love what we do. We're good at what we do, and we do a great job for the corporations that are kind enough to come in and invest in us and be partners with us. So that's definitely something that's going to be a focus in the future, or remain a focus. And, we need to keep diversifying our revenue streams. We're going to keep expanding our white label service business and looking for new ways to drive revenue there. Specifically, a couple issues. The logo. I get asked about this like 20 times a week. I can't get to 100% yet. So let's just say I'm 95% sure that we're going to roll back to a logo resembling the OG logo probably next year. I've actually spoken with Lenovo Legion about it. They're really excited about it. I think the timing will be right. There's a ton of work to be done, including a very expensive sign on the corner of this building, but we'll figure all that out. I say 95% because there's other stakeholders and voices that could come and be involved that might change that, but we're about 95% sure we're going to revert back to the black and red probably next year. People ask me about the headquarters that I'm sitting in, how long we'll be here. We are now a subtenant of GameScore, who holds the main lease, and we collectively decide each year whether we're going to renew. I'll be honest and share with you that this headquarters costs about $1 million a year to operate. So it is no small decision to make, but it also drives revenue for us. So in Q4 of each year, we'll evaluate whether we're going to renew and whether they want to renew us. It's our intention most likely to stay in the headquarters. We like the headquarters, and I think it offers us a lot of ways to diversify our revenue. So that's kind of where we're at there. A lot of you pinged me about the Complexity cigars. Shortly after I'm done here, which I almost am, about at 90 minutes, I'm going to post a poll on my Twitter. You guys are going to decide whether we offer and sell Complexity branded cigars. And they'll be available if you vote yes, both in boxes and smaller orders. You don't have to buy, a $300 box of cigars or whatever. You can just buy them in smaller numbers if the fans choose that way. If you choose no, then we're not going to sell them. So you're my board of directors today. That tweet will go out probably 5 or 10 minutes after this concludes. You guys get to decide if we're going to offer Complexity branded cigars. Also, I wanted to ask you, and I might tweet this out ironically. I've been debating, and my social team has been recommending that I start a TikTok. I've been really torn about this for a long time, but the TikTok would be my personal TikTok that is basically the diary of an esports CEO and following me around the world. Some of it will be incredibly boring, like this probably was for many of you, but I'm debating starting a TikTok. So if you think it's dumb, tweet at me, say dumb. If you're like, hell yeah, I can't, you've got to start a TikTok diary. Send me tweets or X's posts, whatever the heck they're called these days. I'm going to go to a quick Q&A because I promised on my tweet that I would do that. Let me see. How about I bring it up first? My first tech glitch. Okay. So here are some quick questions. I'm going to try to get through these because we've kind of hit my 90-minute kind of cap. Jake Lucky, what has been the most important metric of getting sponsors? Great question. I think I've talked about a lot of that today. Obviously, winning and being relevant in the conversation is important, but really being able to provide the metrics and the reach is also really important, depending on economic conditions. I think a lot of these questions I probably answered as we went through here, so we'll go through. Hey, Aju, thanks for the kind words here. Update on Cole Cigars. Like I said, you all going to vote on my X account shortly after this finishes, and you get to decide. To give you 1 week to vote. Okay. Bring back the old logo. 95%. I can't quite get to 100%. I can't promise it yet. You'll be watching from Canada. There's Spike. There were some questions in here. What are your most important KPIs and OKRs for this year? I think we went through a lot of this. Atomic Habits is actually a book. It's a great question. Appreciate it, Jordy. I think I covered a lot of this, what kind of our goals are and what we're trying to work on, the good, the bad, the ugly. Bring back the old logo. I hear you. Let's see. Since release CS2, talking about the growing pains for the game, I do think the bugs and issues in CS2 are growing pains. I think CSGO is far worse at this stage in its life. So I'm not satisfied with where CS2 is, but I'm confident that it'll get better. Thought there were more questions in here. What point does a CS2 team start making roster changes? We spoke about that for a few minutes. What is the best direct pathway to getting jobs in esports? On a YouTube that I was putting videos out in 2020, I released one called How to Get a Job in Esports. So Jaffakas, Google, I think if you Google like Jason Lake, How to Get a Job in Esports, you'll find that video. It's a great place to start. How financially healthy is Cole? We just talked about that. I'm confident that we're going to be good, and I'm optimistic, but it's not certain. That's the truth. We need the fans to rally. We need some new, exciting corporate partners. That's where we're at. Old logo. Favorite part of being in the Halo ecosystem? Man, I raised my son on Halo. He was playing Halo at 2 years old, so it's an honor to be a part of the Halo ecosystem. Hopefully it stays healthy and continues to grow. Yes, sir. Job openings, they're posted on our website when we do have job openings. But the honest truth is we're running a pretty tight ship right now. I've got a lot of really good people around me who are willing to jump in and do all kinds of random stuff, just like the old days, to try to maximize our output and our effectiveness while not getting bloated on the expense side of the balance sheet. Okay. I promised people I'd go through this. Now, NACS would help. Okay, yes. We talked about that. We talked about the HQ. Talked a little bit about the HQ. Do we have connections to the Cowboys camp anymore? We have a lot of very dear friends there, but we are not legally associated with the Dallas Cowboys or their ownership group anymore. That's a lot of what all went down in March. But we're very grateful to them and think the world of them. Any plans on academy teams? I would love academy teams. They're just really difficult to financially justify. To do it right, to do it at the level that we do things would be expensive. And I don't want to half-ass an academy team. I would rather pour in and try to build the whole community and build out that pipeline rather than just have one complexity team. Make me some money. Okay, Maddie. Could we see Complexity's return to Call of Duty esports? Never know, man. We run like 12 in a row back there with Aches and the boys. I don't have any immediate plans for Call of Duty. Our brothers over at friends over at Optic are, NACS real close to us, and they do a fantastic job. We love the game. I don't have any immediate plans to get back in. Not saying that we never would, though. What on earth did you not change this dog of a roster? Grim and Floppy losing to a stand-in heroic after the abysmal EWC. You know what, man? We talked a bit about that, and that's an example of the tweets from passionate fans who want us to do better, and I get it. I get it. So anyway, I think I got some of the questions, and follow my Twitter and I guess X, whatever, and fire me questions. And when I can and when I have time, I'll try to answer them. And please join our Discord. That's where we all hang out. I'm in there every day unless I'm on an airplane somewhere. I generally don't like to get the Wi-Fi in airplanes. I like to read a book and kind of use it as time to think and really just kind of get offline. So I'm in a good place and mentally healthy when I land, and I can go straight to work. So I wait till I land to be barraged by all that. So I hope this has been really helpful. I hope this has been transparent. If anybody of the 3,000 of you seriously sat through 90 minutes, like props, thank you. I know it's a lot, but I wanted to bring a lot. I'm really grateful for you guys for joining us today. And I hope that you can see more clearly now what complexity is, what challenges we face, what the business needs to operate, how we're looking to grow, and how we're looking to expand. The truth is, we battle through uncertain and precarious times, and we can do it together. Together, we'll nurture and improve one of the world's greatest legacy organizations ever, and together we'll continue to manifest a community. That's not only special in gaming, but we can build a community that's special anywhere in the world. I sincerely believe that. Together, we're creating something that our children and their children can be proud of. A multi-generational brand built on the values, the old-fashioned values, like we talked about earlier, integrity and honesty and professionalism. I still believe in those things. We're not perfect. Like I said, I am not perfect. I have screwed stuff up and I've made mistakes. But together we can march forward. Together we can secure victory in this crazy climate, but we need you. We need you. So I humbly ask you to join us, and thank you very much for your time today. May God bless you and your families. Thanks, Jay Lake. Peace out.